Good afternoon, everyone. We are the reporter for this afternoon, and our report is all about develop and present different menu for different events, showing high profit rates. I am Juliana Bugan, and I am going to report catering menu planning. First, we have the definition of terms. Terms used in menu planning. Menu is a list of dishes to be served in a given meal. Menu planning is the selection of a menu for an event, such as picking out a dinner for your wedding or even a meal at a birthday party. Meal planning is the act of advanced planning of the menu for different situations, such as for a family or a restaurant. It is important to consider the dietary needs of the people one is preparing for. We have the importance of menu planning. First is the customer satisfaction, facilitating costing, facilitating pricing, reference by customer and management, guide production, facilitate evaluation and improvements, facilitate ordering, plan storage, guides the catering staff on how to prepare dishes, help the catering staff to prepare in terms of attitudes, skills, ordering. We have types of menu. First is the table d'hôte, a set of menu forming a set of menu forming a complete meal at a set price. A choice of dishes may be offered at all courses, and choice number of courses is limited to 2, 3, or 4. Next is the a la carte. A la carte menu with all the dishes individually priced. Customers compile their own menu from the list. The meal is cooked to order. The customers should be prepared to wait for their service. Third is party function menus. Menu for banquets or functions of all kind. All guests start the meal at the same time. Seasonable foods must be available if the menus are printed well in advance to avoid embarrassments. Next is ethnic or specialty menus. It can be a la carte, table d'hôte, specializing in the food or religion of the country or in a specialized food itself. First, we have ethnic, Chinese, Indian, kosher, Kenyan, African. Next is specialty, steak, fish, pasta, vegetarian. Kitchen staffers know how to obtain and use the ingredients. The ambience or the mood of the restaurant must reflect the menu. Next is the hospital menus or institutional menus. It's a form of menu given to the patient. The day before service, the patient ticks his or her preferences. A dietitian is usually involved with the menu compilation to ensure nothing is given to the patient that would be detrimental to their health. The patient's meals are usually 2 to 3 courses. Menu for people at work. Menus served to people at the workplace. They vary in standard and extent from one employer to another depending on the company policy. They are usually served in staff canteens or cafeteria. Some companies charge for the meals and some ask for tokens, and offer meals at a subsidized price or rate. The menu offers 2 or 3 courses meal with a selection of items. Traditional menus or ethnic menus, it is a recipes form a sound foundation of knowledge for the chef or caterer. However, fashions and food chains and customers look for new dishes, different combinations of food, fresh ideas and menu, and more. Some of the most successful menus contain a sensible balance of traditional and contemporary dishes. Next is menu for children. They emphasize the unhealthy eating and balance the diet in schools. Schools with the children from different cultural and religious backgrounds should have appropriate items available on the menu. Most establishments provide special children's menus which concentrate on favorite foods. Next is cyclic menu. This is a series of fixed meals which are rotated over time. It is used mainly in hospitals, institution, and campus. A cycle can be from 5 days to 5 or weeks. Carte jour or carte du jour. It means card of the day or menu of the day, which is prepared only for that day. Another importance of menu planning, it determines the people for the operations, determines the performance of the business, it determines the ideas to develop a restaurant theme, decor, and feel. It determines the type of menu you are going to offer the guest, whether it is individual or prefix. It determines the level of service, style, and target customers. It determines the profitability in terms of the guest, feasibility, comfortably in reading and understanding the menu, and determines the concept of food. So we have principles of menu planning. First is variety. It is a menu items, preparation techniques, visual appeal, and garnishes. The balance, which are the nutrition, the placement on plate, serving size, proportion, number of foods. The nutrition, which are the low-fat diets, gluten-free, vegan, allergies, and next is flexibility, seasonal foods, target customers, and last is truthfulness. Truthfulness. It's a federal law, which are nutrition, quantity, quality, freshness, and protect customers. So we have factors to consider when planning menus. First is nutrition requirements. It should have protein, starches, vitamins, fats, mineral salts. And health consideration, we have sickness, deficiencies like scurvy, diabetes, kwashiorkor. Next is availability of foodstuffs, the seasonal foods like fruits and vegetables. Next is number of courses. First is appetizer, second main dish, and last is dessert. And we have the sequence of courses and the nutritional balance, the proteins, vitamins, minerals, water, fats, and oils. Next, the occasions. We have funerals, wedding, birthday, graduation ceremony, national holiday, celebration festivities like Christmas, Ramadan, Easter holiday. We have factors to consider when compiling menus, the pricing policy based on cost and clientele, staff capability, facilities for cooking and service, balance, business promotion and marketing, availability and season of supplies. Next is preparation of a time plan for production of a menu. We have menu, food order list, costing, timed order of work, presentation, and garnishing. Thank you for listening. That's end my report.
Good day everyone, I am Grace Tiaguanta and for today I will tackle about the catering menu program. So first, what is a menu in catering? In a restaurant, the menu is a list of food and beverages offered to customer and the prices. A menu may be an a la carte, which presents a list of options from which customer choose, or a table d'hote, in which case a pre-established sequence of course is offered. How important is menu catering? A custom menu is very essential as it helps you to determine how much food you will need per person at your catered event. It allows you to highlight and clarify what needs to be included in your budget while accounting for people with dietary restrictions. The basic menu can be include are breakfast, lunch, dinner menus, hors d'oeuvres menus, reception menus, special functions menus, a la carte menus, dessert or salad menus, beverages menus, wine, liquor, cordial, and specialty. Each menu in the program represents a selection of items presented in the format identified for a specific meal service. This is an example of a breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus. The breakfast had a egg, coffee, apple. Lunch is a cake, cheese, or a soup something, and in a dinner is a chicken, wine, and fish. This is the example of horse d'oeuvre menu, a small bit of appetizing food, a spicy meat, fish, cheese, or a preparation of chopped or creamed foods, often served on crackers or small pieces of toast, for eating at cocktail parties or other gatherings where drinks are served with no other food. It is like a pollutant for a guest, or a finger foods while drinking in the party. An example of an a la carte menu or list that prices the items separately. An example of a beverage menu. A beverage menu is any menu or section of a menu that sells alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. The identification of specific menu items is based on six major factors. First is the style of service, determines the equipment, staffing, and food production needs. Second is the price range, determines both the monthly forecasted catering sales volume and the anticipated annual profit. Third is the menu item selection is based on the skill levels of the kitchen production personnel, along with the management's goals and objectives for the overall catering options. Fourth is the cuisine orientation helps determine the pricing structure of the menu program. The fifth is the food production capabilities identify menu items within the cuisine that can be successfully produced for catering services based on the available equipment and the skill level of the production personnel. And lastly, the awareness of customers' need is reflected in knowledge of current trends in dining and eating patterns. Banquet specification outline each menu item individually, so the selection of any given menu can be changed in order to adjust the price up or down. In catering menu program, we should also consider the style of services. The style of services is a major factor to consider when planning an event, function, or dinner. Are influenced by the following factors: skill level of available service staff, the cuisines is being served, available equipment, menu price range, customer profile. There are different types of style of table service adaptable for banquet service are the French, Russian, American, and buffet service. The French service style is a much lower and more expensive than American service. Is the most elegant service. Foods is served from the cart called gueridon. Food is brought raw or partially prepared and then prepared tableside. Meats may be prepared in the kitchen but carved or deboned in the tableside. Employees must be more skilled and more numerous. It is very personalized service. Food is brought from the kitchen in dishes and salvers which are placed directly to the table. The plates are kept near the dish and the guests help themselves. The table is set for the horse d'oeuvres, soup, main courses, and sweet dish in sterling silverware. The food is portioned into silver platters at the kitchen itself, which are placed at the sideboard with burners or hot plates to keep the food warm in the restaurant. Plates are placed before the guest. The waiter then picks the platter from the hot plate and presents the dish to the host for approval. He serves each guest using a serving spoon and fork. All food is presented in silver dishes with elaborate dressing. This is a video example of a French service. You can play it to our PPT. Next is the Russian service style, elegant and full of showmanship, efficient and relatively fast, suitable for banquets. Food is presented on silver trays and then portioned of food or dish onto plates ate at the table. Coffee service is after the meal. An elaborate silver service much on the lines of French service, except that the food is portioned and carved by the waiter at the guarding trolley and the restaurant in full view of the guest. Display and presentation are major part of the service. The principles involved is to have whole joints, poultry, games, fish elaborate dressed and garnished, presented to guests and carved and portions by the waiter. This is also a video example of a Russian service style. You can play it in our PPT. American service style. Food is dished onto plates in the kitchen and brought out to each guest. Coffee is often served with the meal. Serve food from the left and beverages from the right, often used at banquets. The American service is a pre-plated service, which means that the food is served into the guest's plates in the kitchen itself and brought to the guest. The portion is predetermined by the kitchen and the accompaniment served with the fish balance the entire presentation in terms of nutrition and colors. This type of service is commonly used in a coffee shop where service is required to be fast. And video example of an American service. Buffet service style. Buffets are self-serve at a set price, a style of self-service where food is displayed in tables. The guest takes his plate from a stack at the end of each table or requests the waiter behind the buffet table to serve him. For set-down buffet service, tables are laid with crockery and cutlery as in a restaurant. The guest may serve himself at a buffet table and return to eat at the guest table laid out. The waiter may serve few courses like the appetizer and soup at the table, often high food costs and wasteful of food. Service staff is often reduced for this type of service. An important consideration is food safety because food often sets out for long. I didn't include a video example of this buffet service because we all experienced this during our work experience. And lastly is the English service style, often referred to as the host service or called formal family service because the host plays an active role in the service. Food is brought on platters and serving dishes from the kitchen by the waiter as is shown to the host for approval. The host either serves all guests at the table, portioning the food into each guest's plates directly, or portion the food and allows the waiter to serve. The waiter then places the platters on the tables. For replenishments of guest food, the waiter may take the dishes around the guests to help themselves or to be served by the waiter. What are the factors will affect and influence the selection of the service style will have on French, Russian, American, and buffet service? It is the price range, the menu item selection, the cuisine, and the seasonal menu. In price range, there are three major aspects of the menu program: the level of the cuisines, the menu items selected, and the quality of food product. In menu item selections, catering menu items should be chosen according to how well they fulfill the three basic purchasing requirements. The item can be purchased in large volumes at the required quality. The item is available for purchase through normal distribution channels year-round. The item available for purchase at a price that results in overall food cost that yields an acceptable food cost percentage. Cuisines should be priced according to the target market's customers' needs. Food productions, the capability of the food service operation to carry on the preparation and service of a menu is based on the production capacities on both equipment and labor. Discuss staff capability. Not all prospective menu items can be produced in large volumes. Discuss equipment concerns. Seasonal menu. Discuss the creation of a complete seasonal menu. For example, is in the Christmas seasons, New Year seasons, like that. And lastly is the awareness of customer needs. An important skill for every catering manager to develop. The catering service market is highly competitive and require an ability on the part of management to respond to customer needs often before they are indicated.
So this is my topic. It's all about menu format. So as we can see in the picture is we have the menu format. So menu formats. So laid down by Auguste Escoffier in the early 1900s. So these are used either whole or in a part. So to present a series of menu items for a planned meal program in both institutional and commercial settings. So the basic menu formats used to develop catering menus are based on the classical French menu plans for dinner, luncheon, and breakfast. So as we can see in the image below is we have the classical French menu examples. So we have 17 courses of French classical menu. So these are the examples in French classical menus. And next, so menu formats. The accompanying beverage program for this menu format offers appropriate wines with appetizer, fish, meat, dessert, and cheese courses. So what is the standard menu format? So the most menus are built to accommodate the standard paper sizes of 8.5 by 11. So if your menu exceeds 12 by 18, so consider having separate menus for wine, desserts, and kids in order to keep size manageable. So you don't want to overwhelm your guests. To feature dishes, use table tents, menu boards, or chalk boards. So below is the example of the standard menu format. So in addition, so menu format is arranging menus from breakfast, lunch, and into dinner. So below is the example of catering events programs menu format. So and the second one is we have the example below, the catering restaurant menu format. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day, I'll be reporting about catering contract. A catering contract is a legally binding commitment between a caterer and a client. It contains details specifying your services as a caterer throughout one event or multiple. This protects the caterer as well as the client, in which it is a blueprint, contains the details, the client's request, and the service that will be offered. Catering contract form a relationship with client in which it helps to gain trust with one another. There are 7 main categories of catering contract. First, we have cost plus. In this type of contract, an estimated budget is prepared according to which the caterer prepares the food. If the budget is exceeded, the client is expected to pay the additional amount. In the case of saving, he is entitled to receive money from the caterer. Second, we have the cost plus guarantee. It is similar to cost plus except that the caterer adds labor costs and gross profit percentage as a part of sales and management charges. Third, we have the subsidy or cost. The caterer controls the tariff, menu, and other miscellaneous costs and applies these charges. The caterer runs a profit and loss account but does not submit it to the client. Fourth, we have the fixed price. An annual budget is calculated. The cost is divided by 12 to calculate a monthly surcharge that the client then pays. The client, however, does not have to pay any additional costs that may exceed the budget. Fifth is fixed cost per head. An annual budget is calculated and the cost is estimated per user. Then the food cost per head is calculated by multiplying it by daily numbers. This is usually done for contract for hospitality and schools. Sixth is concession. It is similar to subsidy except that a percentage return of sales is given to the client each month. 7 is royalty contract. These are used as a long-term contracts. Each month, the client is given a sale return which is not affected even if the caterer cannot control its cost. What should be included in a catering contract? So we have basic contract information, menu, food service, staffing services, final changes, payment schedule, cancellation policy, and breach of contracts. For basic contract information, the contract should include the complete address and name of the client and the caterer. It should also contain information regarding the venue, date, and time of the event. For the menu, the contract should have details about the number of items on the menu and the quantity required by the client. It can even have information of the dishware and cutlery to be used. Food service, the contract should also be specified whether you provide a buffet or a sit-down meal. On a catering contract, it should be mentioned how the meals and beverages will be served to the guests. For staffing services, the contract should outline details such as the ratio of guests to staff members, the staff dress code, and the services the staff is required to provide. We also have final changes. The contract should also include a final date for any changes the client wishes to make to the menu or the guest list. For payment schedule, the caterer's fees for food and services should be written in a clear terms. Any additional costs should also be included in the contract. We also have cancellation policy. It is essential to provide details such as the notice period and the amount paid to the caterer if the client terminates the contract. Breach of contract. The contract should also contain details for when there is a breach of contract from either of the parties involved. When to use a catering contract. So we have restaurant and hotels often create a catering agreement with other services to organize lunch and dinner daily. These are long-term bindings. Hospitals, schools, and the corporate sector hire caterers to ensure a regular and consistent supply of food and cleaning services. For occasions like weddings, birthday parties, and other social events, caterers are hired to arrange the food menu requested by the clients. They are hired for a limited time. When wedding planners and other organizers create a catering agreement with caterers, the purpose is to provide customers with all kinds of services under one roof. The caterer doesn't need a separate contract with the client in this situation. Tips on how to write a contract. Create a contract template flexible enough to include general and additional information. Second, you may add a questionnaire as an additional document that the client must answer. It helps in getting as much information from the client as possible. Third, discuss and plan the original menu and the alternate menu and the quantity of each. Fourth, the contract should include terms related to the limitations of the catering service, what items or services you can or cannot provide. You may include additional services such as bartending, dessert catering, or cleaning services. So this is an example of catering agreement in which there is the parties, the client and the caterer, and you can see the effective date and the agreement between the two. Also, we have the service provided. Hereby, the caterer agrees to provide the services listed below, in which all the services that will be provided will be listed here. And then we have the event date on which the event will be occur and the contact information. We have the client telephone number, the client's email address, and other necessary and relevant phone numbers and email address. We also have the cancellation. The parties agree that in case of the client cancel this agreement prior to the event, he or she will be entitled to a refund of the monies paid except for the non-refundable deposit made. For the payment, it will discuss about when will be the payment date and the total fee for the services. Also, it will discuss the mode of payment if it will be a walk-in payment or online banking. We also have indemnity and insurance, dispute resolution, governing law, severability, entire agreement in order to protect the catering company and protect the client. We also have amendments and signature and date. In the lower part consists of client and caterer name, signature, and date to officially sign the agreement they have made after finalizing everything. That's all. Thank you.